There's not a more festive hockey game than the Winter Classic. Watching players battle out in harsh cold conditions, goalies wearing hats on their helmets, and sometimes very questionable ice conditions. Is this not just perfect for a sport as tough as hockey? Hey everybody, I'm Victoria, and throughout the month of December I'm going to be posting lots of hockey holiday content. So every second day between now and Christmas I'll be posting videos that are somehow related to Christmas and hockey and all that fun stuff. And for day one, we're looking at some winter classics because there isn't a more festive hockey game in the calendar than this one. The NHL Winter Classic is an annual outdoor hockey game held during the NHL's regular season, either on or around New Year's Day. It's held in a baseball or football stadium and always in an area which already has an NHL team. The next Winter Classic is on January 1st, 2024 as the Seattle Kraken host the Vegas Golden Knights at T-Mobile Park. But today we're looking at some of the best Winter Classic games which have already been held. So in at number 3 for me is the 2008 Pittsburgh Penguins versus Buffalo Sabres game at Ralph Wilson Stadium. I feel like you can't make a list of the best Winter Classic games without speaking about the first, the original, the OG. If this had been a flop of a game, we wouldn't have Winter Classic games every year still. The hype for the game was incredible. The weather was very snowy and wintry, meaning the conditions were just perfect. The NHL also decided to have quite authentic old style jerseys, and the Pittsburgh Penguins wore those baby blue ones, which I absolutely love and which might be my favourite Penguins jersey ever. It was also an iconic game because Sidney Crosby clinched the overtime winner, and the Pittsburgh Penguins won the game 2-1 as they were surrounded by snow flurries. It was almost picture perfect. There were definitely ice repair delays and some problems with that, but that's only so avoidable when you're playing outdoor hockey on a rink that's been thrown together in the space of a week. And I think everyone can agree that the original is definitely one of the best ever to have been held. In at number 2 for me is the 2009 Winter Classic between the Detroit Red Wings and the Chicago Blackhawks, held at Wrigley Field. The second Winter Classic game to take place, 2 goals within 17 seconds during the third period gave Detroit the win over Chicago in this really high scoring matchup. The game taking place in such a historic, iconic setting really helped set the tone for the Winter Classic, and this one ranks so highly for me, not just because of the historic stadium, but also because the jerseys just really screamed Winter Classic to me, especially the Detroit one with the massive D logo. I absolutely love that. Again, I think Winter Classic jerseys are some of my favourites. They're so sort of like historic looking and really authentic to the beginnings of the league, I think. Really like it, especially the jerseys for original 6 teams. As the first Winter Classic to take place in a ballpark, there were of course references to Take Me Out to the Ball Game, which added charm to what was still very much a novelty for NHL fans back then. The only downside is that the conditions weren't as wintry as the first one, and I believe it was actually quite a mild winter day, so that kind of takes away from the atmosphere a little bit, but it was an exciting game. It was high scoring, it was tense, and it really still had very good vibes to it, and I just like the fact it was in a ballpark, to be honest, and that they didn't choose to just stick to football stadiums after the success of the first year. So that's why it's in at number 2. However, there's only going to be one winner for me, and I know that it's a beloved game among many people, and that is the 2014 Toronto Maple Leafs versus Detroit Red Wings Michigan Stadium Winter Classic game. It was an iconic matchup between 2 original 6 teams playing in the snow and freezing temperatures in front of a large crowd. It basically epitomised the whole idea of a Winter Classic game, and it was so cold that the ball inside the ref's whistle actually froze. Toronto won in a shootout, with Tyler Bozak clinching a Leafs win following a tense end to the game as Detroit had scored a late third period goal, forcing the game to overtime and shootout, which eventually led to the Leafs 3-2 win. I just think this would be the sort of perfect game. It's an original 6 matchup, which I feel like Winter Classic games are obviously meant to be a sort of tribute to old style hockey being outdoors and all. So the fact it was 2 original 6 teams and it was such a good game and it was in perfect wintry conditions, it had to be my number 1. And if I could go back and see a hockey game, apart from maybe the Leafs winning the cup in '67, that would definitely be in the top 5 games I'd probably pick to go to if I could time travel. So there you have it. There are a few of the best winter classic games ever to exist. Leave a comment down below telling me, do you agree? Do you think another game should have been on this list? Let me know what your favourite is, and I'll see you again soon for more holiday hockey content. Bye guys.